Well, hey guys, and welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. It is Thursday, January 29th, 2026. And yeah, we have just one more day left in this master topic before we move on to a brand new topic. It's great to be with you guys. And if this is your first time here, I want to say welcome and thank you for joining me. If you're coming back, of course, I want to say thank you. And of course, welcome back. I always appreciate those that enjoy my content and want to keep viewing more of it and sharing it and inspiring and changing their lives. So, guys, if you have not heard of believemeachieve.com, why don't you go check that out? That is after the show is over. You can get my short form content, my long form content, articles, and so much more. Oh, and if you're thirsty, feel free to go grab yourself some RO water or another drink or beverage or snack or fruit or what have you. Whether it be healthy or not, that's totally up to you. Without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and kick off this show. Are you ready, guys? I know I am. So hello, everyone, and welcome once again back to Inspirations for Your Life, the daily motivational show where growth is intentional, change is courageous, and alignment matters more than comfort. I'm your host, guys. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I'm an engineer. I'm a marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, and yes, guys, a passionate, lifelong learner. Today, we're talking about something deeply human and often deeply uncomfortable for many, leaving the boat. Walking away from what's familiar, that's jobs, roles, relationships, expectations, without setting fire to everything behind you, because sometimes people get vindictive and they feel that because it's not working for them, well, then they want to ruin it for everybody else. And that's a very, very poor and bad attitude thing to do. And successful people don't do that. Successful people are happy when other people are successful. Leaving the boat isn't about rebellion, guys. It's about evolution. And I think people that don't understand that not only bring others down, but they also bring themselves down and they, well, make it harder for them to come back and claim a chance for success. Number one, guys, the anxiety of disappointing people who benefit from your smallness is real, but it's not your responsibility to stay small so others can stay comfortable. That's the truth, guys. Number two, you can leave a group, a job, or relationship with clarity instead of conflict when you choose honesty over drama. So a lot of times people leave a group or they leave a relationship because of some drama or because of something that happened, and they're completely right to do so. Maybe it's just not working out and they've tried and they can't get it to gel or to be fixed, so they leave. But it's also not the time to destroy it or to break a bridge, right? Because maybe you need to cross that bridge again. It just might not be the right time, but that doesn't mean that you need to break or burn down the whole building. I mean, that's the facetious way of saying that. But number three, abandoning responsibility is running away. I don't know if you know that. Evolving is choosing growth with intention. Number four, guys, if I grow, will the outgrow you? Is the quiet fear that keeps many people stuck long past their expiration date? Let's ponder that for a moment. I know that sounds interesting, but because you're moving on does not mean that you are ready to do everything you need to do. I'm just being completely honest with you on that. Number five, guys, having the I'm changing conversation with people you love requires courage, compassion, and boundaries. So we have to be aware of those. Number six, guys, sometimes the boat is already sinking and you're just rearranging chairs to avoid admitting it. And so if a boat's sinking, does it mean you get off? Well, it means that you need to restructure what you're doing, because if you keep going the way you're going, well, you're probably not going to be above water very long. So that's important. Number seven, guys, red flags don't appear suddenly. You've usually known it's time to move on long before you admit it. And that's a hard thing for many people. It affects the ego, and that's a problem. Number eight, guys, staying for stability often costs more emotionally than leaving ever will. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't get is how do we react in these weird kinds of situations, right? That's a very, very important thing, to understand. What's happening, why things are happening. I think that's a very, very important thing to definitely to understand. So, number nine, choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. Number 10, there's a real grief in leveling up, even when the change is right. Number 11, honor where you came from without saying where you no longer belong. Number 12, guys, outgrow doesn't mean you failed. It means maybe you finished that role. Maybe it's time to do something different. Maybe it's time to think about what's happening, right? Think about the next part of your life. I think that's a very important thing to understand, and I hope that you can respect and really know what's happening there. I mean, I think that's a very very big thing that a lot of people just don't understand. And so when I say this, outgrowing it can be challenging. And I have to say, I've got to complain again here once with LT. So we've had lots of issues with them being disconnected, reconnected. I've been getting lots of pop-ups here. Hopefully I don't lose you guys on the show. But their service just sucks just to pay it. Connections get lost. So we're back there. We lost you for a second or two. Like I said, Optimum and Altice, they just suck. But that's just kind of how they are. And the thing is, they just can't be reliable. And, we always try to do the best we can. And one of the things we're going to be doing in our new studio is we're going to be building pure fiber and building more redundancy because you can't just run professional streaming with just even great cable. It's terrible that they don't really care about me and about my business and about keeping things out there. I mean, we were dropped there for literally a couple seconds, and then obviously we came back, so we didn't lose the connection. But I think a lot of these companies are not accountable, and if they were accountable, then well, they'd be a lot better. The first thing I have to say is we should not allow other countries, France or wherever, to buy our utilities, and we shouldn't be able to buy theirs. I mean, I think that's just nonsense. The way other countries can do that, it's a big problem. And like I said, that little bit of an intermittent blip we had that maybe you didn't notice it. If you were listening on audio, you might have not listed. There might have been a little bit of a down for a few seconds. But the thing is, you can complain, but they really don't do squat. They'll say, we were updating, we're doing some kind of BS, basically. So, these are important things to understand. And I think the more that we, let's say, understand this and know what's happening, I think it affects us as people. I think that's a very, very important thing to say. And maybe you're thinking about this for a moment saying, John, this is kind of crazy, right? Well, I think it's because, again, of that accountability thing, right? It's that whole accountability thing. And, that's a really, really big problem. Number 13, your old life and new life may look different, and that contrast is part of the growth. So I think we need to embrace that. All right. Another important one, guys, that I think a lot of people miss is not everyone you love will understand your next step, and they don't have to. Okay. Maybe you have friends and maybe they don't agree with what you're doing. Well, maybe it might be time to get new friends, but not always. But I think the problem is that you're so invested in that when they give you feedback, even if it's good feedback, it kind of, well, like tips you off in a bad way. Maybe they're trying to help you. So you can kind of figure out, are they really doing what's best for you or not? And so I said, not everyone you love will understand your next step, and they don't have to. You need to know where you're going. Number 15, guys, you owe people honesty, not endless explanations. So be truthful about why you're doing something. You don't need to give them the whole kitchen sink. I mean, that's a real important one, okay? Again, honesty, all right? Number 16, dramatic exits are loud. Intentional transitions, well, they're powerful. And when we choose to do them in a certain way, they can be life-changing for us and for other people. Number 17, guys, leaving quietly can be one of the strongest moves you ever make. I know so many people that get upset that they got to leave and they've got to, like, well, put on this temper tantrum. They've got to cry, act like they're 2 or 3 years old so they can get attention. But really, that's just showing their shoe size and not their true age. So I think that's a big, big problem for a lot of people. And so I know if you're listening to me here, that you might say, well, John, you don't understand what happened in the situation. You don't understand what they did to me. Well, two wrongs, guys, does not make a right. I'm sorry to tell you that. We heard what happened in the X capers and what happened with the Grok cases and how there were other issues on the internet where there was some harassment and then they used these AI tools to put, let's say, adult created, let's say, images of the people without their consent. And then when the girl went back to do it, okay, it was very interesting that she was able to get off and not be punished because she was the original victim. I don't think that's right. I think that's sending a wrong message. I get that she was scarred and that she had really some emotional challenges, but that doesn't mean that you are able to do whatever the heck you want to do just because, well, no reason. I'll give you per example. I was in a Facebook group, still am. I was in many groups, some that I run, I'm the admins of. And so there's rules. There's one group that you can only post business stuff on certain days, like 1 day a week, and they tell you which one. And it was interesting because when this one guy posts, happened to be a doctor, and I made a joke because he says like, I don't know, 4 years. And I said, why is it that people with like 30 or 40 cars post everything? They're in trouble. And why they don't post once? That doesn't seem very fair. They didn't answer my question. Number 17, leaving quiet moves you ever make. And I say this again because when you leave quietly, you don't create this drama. You don't create this negativity in the air. I say, John, what is one thing to do? It can harm your reputation. I'll give you an example. I was working with a client, and then they decided they wanted to leave because, oh, they thought we were too expensive. They thought that, they just didn't want our help anymore because, well, frankly, they didn't think it was working. But then when a whole year went by and they couldn't get any better, they called us back. Being humble, went back and did all that. But I think it's important to set your boundaries. Let people know like what you expect. Like payment is rendered before services are delivered. If it's like a block of services like we do. Or when they say, can you come right over? My answer is yes, I can come right over as soon as I finish this, and that'll be later today or that'll be tomorrow. And you have to get that respect from people. If you don't want them as a client. Number 18, family expectations can feel heavy when they want you to inherit their dreams instead of chasing your own. I know many years ago, my parents had a dry clean plant, and they wanted me to inherit the dry clean plant on one side. Still had the tech company in that. Wasn't really a full keynote speaker back then. And I knew that I did not want to be behind the counter and doing retail. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something and be more. Did I know that I wanted to go get other degrees? No, I didn't know that back then, but that became evident in the last year or so that I definitely, wanted to do that. So I think that's an important thing. Number 19, guys, oftentimes the resistance isn't about you leaving. It's about who they'll be if you do. And when you leave, you have to realize that you never make somebody feel bad that you left, right? If they want to come back, that's great. But be polite, be courteous, eat and serve humble pie. I think that's so valuable today. And a lesson that many people, well, they don't seem to get it. All right. They don't seem to get that. Number 20, guys, build support for your next season before you fully exit the old one. Huh. So before you start your next thing, build a support for it into your life so that it can be supported, so it can run. A very valuable lesson I learned not too long ago was that your imagination becomes your reality. We've talked about this, but what you have to do, and a lot of people don't do this, is you have to think about things, but you also have to keep thinking from the end, and you have to keep feeling, you have to keep pushing back these images. And when you do, the outside world aligns to your inner world. That doesn't happen overnight, but you gotta have that energy. You gotta feel it from the inside out. Number 21, you know FOMO, right? What's FOMO? Fear of missing out. It's temporary. Regret lasts longer. So if I miss a game, if I miss an event, okay, I missed it. But regret about something else I needed to do, well, that could last my entire life. And I might not be able to repair what I did because of some FOMO thing that I had to do because I thought that took a higher priority than what I should be putting my time into. Number 22, guys. Protecting your future is not selfish. It's responsible, guys. It's responsible. Now, that could mean how you act, it others, it, how accountable you are to yourself. And when you do something, you have for it when others are involved, right? And a lot of people that push to the rug, the reason they do this is because they think that no one else is there. They can do whatever the heck they want. Spoiler, that's a bad thing. By saying it's a bad thing, I mean we have to be accountable because if we're not accountable for who we are, respect, um, and we're going to lose the belief in ourselves. And that's pretty hard to do. But when you lose belief in yourself, how can somebody else believe or trust you? I mean, that's the really bottom line there. Number 23, guys, take lessons, relationships, and discipline with you. Don't compartmentalize, say, okay, because of this relationship, learn from it. And don't put barricades between your life. Learn from those lessons. Oh, because of that happened. I had another situation today where I was explaining something to someone. It was actually yesterday, and they weren't able to talk to me for more than maybe a minute. No problem, didn't hold against them. I said, okay, I'm going to send a letter, a very detailed letter, but not complicated, but just something to illustrate the points. Later on, the person called me back the next day, and we just rehashed what was in the letter and like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm actually doing this to save you money. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And so sometimes you have to put something in writing. Sometimes you have to follow up, but sometimes you have to let them come back to you after they've read your written note. So it's good to do things multiple different ways. Number 24, guys, leave guilt, performance, and resentment behind. I know so many people that try to push guilt on you. Know why? Because if they push guilt, then they will be able to go forward, they feel, because now, well, I'm better than you. Regardless of what degree I have or what degrees I get, does that make me better than somebody? Does it make me better? Does it make me more knowledgeable? Yes, but does that make me a better person? No. Better is a relative term. Why do I like to keep getting educated? I like to be the best. I like to keep growing, and I just like to keep challenging myself and then sharing that knowledge in a humble way and also increasing my value and my net worth. But again, not in a selfish way, in a way that's going to help other people. All right. Number 25. You ready for 25? I bet you are. Change doesn't happen overnight. If you think it does, well, rude awakening, spoiler alert, it doesn't. It happens when you stop pretending. Well, John, I wasn't pretending. Well, maybe you're not intentionally pretending, but I got news for you. You're pretending. And when you can't pretend in a certain way, then your ego starts to kick like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? You get my point? So pretending happens because we're trying to protect that big ego in our head. And when you try to talk to somebody about it, they challenge you until maybe you leave the ballpark and then they invite you back. But now they realize that they need you. Don't act like a jerk, be humble. And you're going to see that the relationship will change. It will change. Number 26, guys. Your first step away feels louder in your head than it ever is to others. A while back, when somebody wanted to leave, I didn't challenge it. I said, okay, no problem. I said, we'll take care of everything. Give us 24 hours and we'll stop all your services. And I don't think the person realized what they were losing. So much to the core that when they tried to do certain things, they couldn't. One client couldn't even use their computer for an entire year. But I respected the time. I respected that break. I respected that, let's say, time apart. So they could realize myself and my company's true value. That's important. And a lot of people try to push value. And when you try to push value, it causes a big problem. All right? That's important to know. Number 27, a leaving plan grounded in respect protects both sides. So when you leave and you protect each other, okay? If the door ever comes back, and I was always humble to the person, I was always cordial to the person, even though they weren't doing business with us for about a year, I was still nice to the person. You might say, John, why am I going to do that? I wasn't trying to get them back. I was just being nice because I want to be nice. It wasn't for any reason. In my book, I said, well, gee, they're never coming back. And I said, that's okay. Never realizing that that person would come back just because I was being nice. But I wasn't being nice to get them back. I was just being nice because that's who I am. And I guess that rubbed off in a way to say, hey, that person maybe can't be that bad if this person's always cordial, this person's always friendly to me, even though I might have not been the most cordial to them. You're not going to get an apology from these kind of people. What you are going to get is the fact that they hire you back. Okay. I think that's a very hard one for a lot of people to digest. One day, number 28, your new life will feel like home. And you'll breathe a lot differently than you're probably breathing now. Number 29, seeing your old life from the outside brings clarity you couldn't access from within, no matter how hard you tried. No matter how hard you tried. Number 30, leaving, guys, isn't betrayal, when staying would mean betraying yourself. What do I mean? If you're staying and you are compromising your core values, that would be betrayal to yourself, and that would be worse. If you're standing at the edge of something familiar, but it's misaligned, this is your reminder, guys. You're allowed to evolve without burning everything down. And I say that facetiously. Don't burn anything down. Meaning, if something doesn't work in the kitchen, don't throw out the whole kitchen sink. Just fix the part that's bad. Maybe it's a washer. I'm not a plumber. Or maybe it's just a faucet, or, something simple like that. Just because one thing is wrong doesn't mean we throw out everything that it's attached or connected to. But some people do, because they think that's the best way to behave, is to purge their life by disassociating everything and anything. So when somebody decides to leave your business, don't make it hard, make it easy. As long as they don't have any bills due for you, just make it nice and easy. Okay? And by doing that, there's going to be no issue. And then if they decide to come back later on, great. When I was with this client today, I said to myself, I still owe them time. So I'm not going to beat them on it. I'm going to come back and say, hey, you had time with me. I just wanted to let you know there's no charge for today because, you basically had time with me. So there's no charge. But if you want me to come back, there would be a charge for that, and that we need to get paid for. And we work in blocks. Thinking about how you're aligned with somebody or how you're misaligned, that can not only wake up the person, but can also wake up you. And you might say, John, why should I bother being nice to somebody if they weren't nice to me? Two wrongs do not make a right. I was always taught to be nice to my elders, but be nice to everyone. If somebody is nasty to you, you can still be nice to them. You don't have to fall over. You can still be cordial and courteous, okay? But you don't go out of your way for that person, okay? You don't go bringing them cookies and cake. They're not a client anymore. They're not a friend anymore, whatever it is. And you also have to realize that when somebody gives you something, whether it's a snack, whether it's breakfast, make sure that what they're giving you is not, well, tied to I'm doing you a favor kind of thing. And because of that, they feel like they have control over you. Keep the playing fields equal. Deliver and grant them what they're supposed to be getting. If you're not giving them something, well, then request, if you feel something's unfair. But sometimes people aren't fair because of the mode they're in. And I never realized this, but I've learned so much in the last couple of years that when people leave, they don't always leave because of you. They leave because of them. I know that sounds weird, but when they leave because of them and you're not the problem, there's a good shot they might come back. I would have never believed that several years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Inspirations for Your Life. I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and sometimes the bravest move isn't staying loyal to the boat, but trusting the shore you haven't reached yet. I know that's a very hard thing for a lot of people to realize, and I'm not saying to abandon your boat, but I'm saying when there's no way to save the boat, then it's time to get out. Don't do that right away, but be ready to jump ship if you've tried everything else. Have yourself a great rest of your evening or day. I'll catch you real soon, all right? Check out believemeachieve.com. Be well, everyone.